honestly, these scenes made me like Isaiah more than I already do, and made me dislike Curtis more than I already do. What is up, fellow GH fans? Here to talk about Friday's episode of the show. A little late in my review, but better late than never, I guess. Let's start with Cassius visiting Joss in her locked up room where he's basically holding her captive. I will say this Friday episode wasn't as great as the past couple of Fridays with this great Friday cliffhanger and all of that. Probably because the storyline that got focused is the storyline that does not have good writing right now. But I also don't know if this Cassius and Joss stuff has good writing either. Because Cassius again goes to her only to talk about himself and how he's been trying to fool everyone as Nathan. He sees how much people loved Nathan, and he realizes he was Nathan's brother. He was really out there trying to get his feelings out to Joss, of all people, the girl he is holding captive, and I just think it's stupid. He also yapped about how when the plan is finished, when Brett helps Sidwell and Cullum finish their project, he knows that he and Britt need to disappear. And yes, he does feel bad about how he has to disappear on Nathan's kid, and that kid's basically gonna lose Nathan again. Joss was trying to say that maybe he can make a deal with her and Jack Brennan, but Cassius said that Jack is not an option for them now because, Jack's he had a stroke from Nina's poison that was meant for Drew. But Joss was trying to get him to work together to bring down Cullum and Sidwell, and maybe he doesn't have to disappear, and he could keep the things he fell in love with. I assume that's the direction it's eventually going to go. Maybe Cassius is going to have a change of heart and end up working with Joss. I still don't want this to be a pairing that I see people parroting that they should be a pairing. Carly and Valentin talked about how Carly was at the hospital and learned that Jack did not die yet, and that she did kind of allude to Nina about the syringe a bit because she likes to make Nina squirm. But they also talked about how they're not going to be able to find Joss since right now Jack can't talk. But then they were interrupted from a visit by Cullum, so Valentin had to go to his attic to hide, although he did have his gun ready. Cullum wanted to talk to Carly about Jason because Cullum admitted to her that he knows Jason didn't shoot him because they were face to face. So Carly, of course, asked, why is Jason sitting in a prison now then? But Cullum had to say because Jason pretty much confessed. Carly said that she didn't get a chance to talk to Jason before the WSB took him away. Cullum was wondering who Jason would have protected. Was looking at a picture of Jason and Danny together that I guess Carly had from baseball. So maybe Cullum is going to start looking into Danny as he probably gets closer and closer to figuring out it was Rocco. Let's just get to this. I'm going in order in my notes. Next in my notes I have the Crash storyline. Curtis was supposed to be meeting some marketing team, was saying goodbye to Jordan and her scar, only for them to yap again about how Isaiah must pay. And all I could ask myself is, pay for what exactly? Because as we discussed several times over the past few weeks since this damn poorly written story began, she was the one driving the car. He was the one distracting her. It was both of their faults that they were in the crash in the first place. So getting this worked up about another car to pay for what? For what? They've all been admitted, or at least Jordan has on many occasions, that it was her fault. Curtis can't take any responsibility for his actions in the whole crash, of course. Isaiah and Portia were out together. Isaiah talking about how her baby's going to make their lives better. They talk about how Curtis is convinced that he's responsible for the accident. And that's when Curtis arrived, when Isaiah was feeling Portia's pregnant tummy. Curtis was being a prick, saying, get your hands off my child or some shit. He wanted Isaiah to just give a paint sample of his car. Isaiah then let Curtis know that he scraped up his car and he's going to look guilty, which that just made Curtis think that Isaiah is guilty for sure, and he was right, and Isaiah left them for dead. Isaiah said that what this is really about is Curtis not wanting him to be in the child's life, and they were getting pretty upset with each other, looking like they were getting ready to fight each other in public. Isaiah said that he is not going anywhere and that he will be a better father to the child than Curtis can be, so Curtis punched him. And that was our Friday cliffhanger. They were going for very dramatic there, and it was some very dramatic scenes. And honestly, these scenes made me like Isaiah more than I already do, and made me dislike Curtis more than I already do. Because Curtis is really just going around wanting to be upset with Isaiah for, I guess, the reasons that Isaiah actually said. Because for anyone with the brain, Curtis would know why the accident happened. He should know that he was partially responsible because he was the one getting frisky. And Jordan has all but admitted that she was the reason the accident happened. So yeah, they're really writing Curtis more and more absurd with this storyline. I don't know why they're writing him this absurd. I guess it is Curtis really thinking that Isaiah just wanted him and Jordan out of the picture so he can be with Portia. I don't know. It's all very ridiculous, and I think the storyline is poorly written. Dante was at work wanting a digital report on the case. He's obviously trying to protect his son from having to go down for shooting Cullum, and now he knows that Cullum is really looking for that evidence. Liz arrived. Liz wanted to know if Dante ended up talking to Rocco, and he said he did. It didn't go very well. Dante said he doesn't know if he's ever been this scared for his son. I think they've done a really good job with Dante in this storyline, because at the end of last year, when I first started watching the show again after not watching it for over 3 years, I was not very fond of the current form of Dante, where I felt like they were writing him to be a really just dumb cop and being very over dramatic with people, and it was making him more unlikable. But he's been very likable in this storyline, I feel like, and he clearly is starting to like Liz, in my opinion, after these scenes. I'm still not rooting for them to get together, but that's what I got from these scenes. And I think Liz was just trying to be a good friend, letting him know that Dante needs to let Rocco know that Dante can be a safe space for Rocco, and that he doesn't have to just make Britt out to be the big villain. But I didn't mind these scenes. I like Liz and Dante as friends. If it continues to push beyond that, I still am rooting for Liz and Rick, which we'll get to here in a second. When Liz left, though, Cullum did arrive looking for the evidence, wanting the evidence. Dante is trying to stall that, saying it's in the basement somewhere, but I don't know how long Dante can really stall that from Cullum and the WSB. Rick and Alexis started the episode together. I'm coming around more to the Rick and Alexis scenes. There was a point there Alexis was just getting on my nerves when she was on. But I did like their scenes together where she saw the champagne. She said she didn't drink. He said it wasn't for her. But then they just talked about the Sunny situation from last week that was so dramatic. And Rick learned that Alexis actually stuck up for him with Sunny, saying that Rick has worked hard to change. So we continue to see progress for Rick as a character. He really has shown growth, and I, for one, am enjoying it. Then he and Liz met for dinner. He gave her the gift, the art that he got from Ava that was so dramatic with Sunny. So at least that had some payoff for Rick and Liz, which I enjoyed. And then the only other thing on in Friday's episode was Brooklyn and Chase meeting with Alexis again. They really want to adopt baby Phoebe. Something's going to happen to, I assume, give that storyline more drama. I'm hoping so. I don't know if it's going to be the pictures of Chase and Willow together. I don't like how they have not followed up on that. On Wednesday's episode, the episode ended with Willow busting in to Michael and Justin to talking with the pictures on the desk. We haven't seen them since. Michael's not on a lot at all, which I don't understand. Why is Brooklyn being shoved down my throat when I'd much rather watch Michael? And maybe not Michael and Jacinda together necessarily, but Michael should be on more than some of these characters that are on a lot.